In this video, I try to see what the difference is between a tower created in 10 minutes and a tower created in 1 week. And to do that, I brought together 4 teams of builders to see which team could make the best tower under a time constraint. This is Ito's speed build competition. For the first round, each team has only 10 minutes to create their tower, and the team with the worst tower gets eliminated. Team 1 immediately took advantage of the fact that I hadn't made any explicit rules for the competition, and they decided to trim their tower down to 5 floors, with the gameplay localized entirely in a small sliver of the tower. But even with the shrunken tower, they barely had any gameplay after the first 7 minutes.
I don't want to say it's over, but you guys have 3 more floors to get through.
It's not over. It's not over.
Alright, well, best of luck.
Despite the time crunch, Team 1 did manage to finish their tower in time. Well, I really shouldn't be calling it a tower.
This is the first team's tower. They decided to go with a steeple. As you can see, they basically just cut the entire tower in half.
Edifice. There's 3 floors.
Oh, there's 3?
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. This tower is only 3 floors long, but since I hadn't given them any rules saying they couldn't do that, I couldn't disqualify them. And this is just a hunch, but maybe the reason they couldn't get their tower done in time was because one of the builders spent the whole time creating an interesting decoration.
I don't think people have noticed the spinning cars outside.
They're reversing too. If you actually look.
Yeah.
Blew up for that.
To give them credit, because the tower was only 3 floors long, the gameplay was surprisingly good for a 10-minute tower. Of course, I easily was able to beat the tower.
No!
So with that, we were able to move on to Team 2. Team 2 had a bit of a rough start. After the first 4 minutes, they had barely finished the frame of the tower. But after 10 minutes, they had a somewhat finished tower.
Team 2 decided that they would make a descending tower, with a handful of basic jumps per floor.
Except for on this red floor, which they ran out of time on, making this tower impossible. However, I can't really suspend them for that because, as you will see later, I would need to suspend a lot of other towers as well. But with only 1 impossible section, this tower was surprisingly impressive for being made in 10 minutes. Now on to Team 3, who also tried their hand at a descending tower, but from the onset there were some issues.
Did you guys have the speed pad on the conveyor?
Yes,
Can
and it
glide
is
through.
electric by some reason.
It is can
Dude,
glide
I
through.
got like jump scared.
But hey, at least the tower's possible, right? Looking back, perhaps I was a bit too harsh on Team 3. I can respect their attempt at using a variety of flying objects in under 10 minutes. But there is something I just can't respect.
It's a puzzle.
Oh my god.
How did this happen?
How
It's a
do you
very
guys-
cool gimmick. I don't know how it
How
happened.
do you...
What is
Did you
this?
guys not
This
play-
doesn't even work.
Team 3 tried to blame a member of Team 4 who helped compile the towers, claiming he set the parts to Can't Collide false. But I checked the models and there was no foul play. Our final team was Team 4, who were locked in. Well, not really, they kind of just spam parts everywhere. Either way, they were clearly thrilled to hear how much time they had remaining.
Either way, you have a minute and 45 seconds left.
What? What? No, that's bad. No.
They might have spent a bit too long adding random decals rather than building gameplay. What really characterized this tower was a bunch of sections that were barely possible. Team 4 got incredibly lucky because it was clear that they had not had time to playtest their tower. What also characterized this tower were some awful gameplay sections. But at the bare minimum, at least this tower was our first 10-floor tower without a single impossible section. With all 4 10-minute towers complete, all that was left to do was decide which team was getting eliminated.
There was one team that really stood out as like especially bad team, and we just want to shout them out. So for who's getting eliminated this time, it has to be Team 3. That's right, you're all getting banned. There you go.
Only 3 teams remained, and now it was time to see which team could build the best tower in a full hour. 6 times the amount of time they had for the first round. For the second round, Team 1 created our first themed tower, with the tower being themed around climate change. That's right, this tower gets political, telling the story of a vibrant forest being cut down and made into boxes. However, I will be taking some points off this tower because of the clear OSHA violations in this factory. Oh, you become a box.
Yeah.
You become a box.
What?
And they very slowly. Why did the boxes despawn so slowly? This is not good gameplay, dog. This tower had some great design for an hour build, but of course they had to ruin everything by having an impossible jump on floor 9. All that was left then was floor 10. We have rising lava. That was not very suspenseful, I'm gonna be real. That was 2 seconds of gameplay.
Using lava?
Hey.
And we were ready to move on to Team 2. Team 2 was in trouble. With just 30 minutes remaining, they barely had a few of the floors built. This probably had something to do with the fact that 2 of their builders disappeared, but I hadn't lost faith yet. The first few floors of this tower were actually quite good, but things soon took a turn for the worse, with not 1, but 2 elevator transitions that just didn't work. And to add insult to injury, they were followed by a completely empty floor. The quality of this tower clearly fell off a cliff as it progressed. The 9th floor of this tower was completely empty, and there wasn't even a 10th floor. Team 2 better hope that Team 4 messes up if they want to stay in this. But unfortunately, Team 4 just doesn't miss, baby! We got frame decoration, we've got client object variety, we got wall jumps. Of course they're gonna have a haunted mansion. This is Team 4 we're talking about. More decorations, memory platforms, outside sections in a 1-hour speed build, atmosphere effects, turret platforms, unintended soft blocks, and peak gameplay all built in a single hour. It is now time to execute the losing team. This time it was a lot better, guys. There were some solid performances from everyone involved. There weren't any complete disappointment towers, but I do still have to eliminate one team, and you guys are just gonna see which tower is going home. It just kills everyone. Okay, so look at the center of the nuke, and you can probably tell that unfortunately Team 2 is the one that is going home today. With just teams 1 and 4 remaining, it was time to start the 1-day tower challenge. Team 1 was obviously exhausted at this point, and that's probably why they got 0 work done for the first 17 hours. But they eventually decided to lock in, creating their second themed tower. This tower picked up where their last tower left off, in the box factory. But this time, disaster strikes. First my factory burns down, and then I spill all my oil that flings you when you touch it, and then I got crushed to death by this giant piston. And then, to top it all off, at the end of the tower they nuke the planet that I inhabit. While this was quite the inconvenience, at least the gameplay along the way was enjoyable. Team 4 was going to have to put up a good performance to top this one. And while I did have high expectations, what I didn't expect was this. Somehow, in just 24 hours, Team 4 had created a tower that was good enough to make it into most fan games. And if they were able to do that in just a day, I was excited to see what they would be able to do with a full week. But unfortunately, I still had to eliminate a team, and this time, Team 1 was on the chopping block. So now there was only one team left for the 1-week challenge. But who would Team 4 compete against? Well, for this round, I brought back all the eliminated teams, grouping them into one mega team to see if they would finally be able to dethrone Team 4. First, we'll look at the mega team. Right out the gate, the chaos of this giant team started to show. Eventually, however, they were able to work together and coordinate to build a pretty consistent tower, albeit a bit generic. For this tower, they focused mainly on client object gameplay and a chill atmosphere. They sort of played it safe on this build, and my thought is that they probably were hoping that Team 4 was tired after the 24-hour challenge. Speaking of Team 4, they took a slightly different approach. With a smaller group of builders, they were able to coordinate a foolproof strategy to outsmart the mega team. The first 5 floors were made up of bare-bones classic gameplay, the type of thing you'd find in Forgotten Ridge. They tried to trick their opponents by making them think that their tower was going to be a low-effort one, so that the other team would get lazy. The Mega Team thought that they were safe, but once we got past the 5th floor, while the Mega Team definitely impressed me with their consistency and quality, the Team 4 tower just had some crazy design and an insane ending. Ultimately, the winner of the 1 week build challenge had to be the team that took bigger risks, and that has to be Team 4. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing. Also, if you want to compete in the next challenge that we do, please join our Discord server, the link will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching.